Hello internet people on the interwebs, my name is Leilani, but you just call me Lay, because apparently my name is Arce. So yeah, if I could go back to when I first started my art journey, there is a lot I would do differently. There were so many mistakes I wish I would have avoided, so many habits I wish I would have picked up, and just so many lessons that I had to learn the hard way. So if you are just starting out in your art journey, this would be my advice to you. Number 1, focus on the basics. Believe me when I say it is so easy to get caught up in wanting to build your own style. I mean, after all, that's what you fall in love with when it comes to art. You always fall in love with an artist's style. However, skipping over the basics can actually make it a lot more difficult for you to build your own creative style. If I could go back to the beginning, I would honestly spend a lot more time trying to understand things like anatomy and perspective, proportion, shading. And the thing is that there are so many amazing beginner-friendly videos that you can watch here on YouTube that will help you understand the basics a lot easier. And for me, since I love drawing figures, it would have been so beneficial if I would have just taken the time to understand things like this before jumping in and starting my own unique style. And honestly, I probably would have developed my style a lot sooner if I did. Learning and understanding the basics, having the foundation, will make finding your own style even more natural. You won't have to force it as much, and it will be a lot more enjoyable as well. Number 2, references aren't cheating. I honestly would never understand the heat people used to give me for using references when I draw. They would act like because I'm looking at a picture for a reference, it automatically meant that I wasn't a true artist because I wasn't creative enough to just do it on my own. And they thought that that was bad. I can't even imagine what they think of AI art. That's a whole different topic though, okay? I can make a whole separate video on that. But regardless, the truth is, every professional artist uses references. And it's simply for the reason that using a reference isn't cheating, but it's learning. I honestly feel like not using references would make it a lot slower for you to actually get better at your art. Whether it's lighting or anatomy or perspective, the best way to get a full understanding of how something works in the real world is by seeing it. Being able to study and fully develop the understanding of real-life objects in action will actually help you understand the structure and movement in ways that you can't just imagine in your head. I genuinely wish that I could tell my younger self that it's alright to use references without guilt. Getting the understanding for how things actually look and how they actually work is actually way more important than being able to just draw something off the top of your head. Number 3, do not copy others' work. This goes hand in hand with what I was just talking about. It is amazing to use certain pictures and certain images as a reference. But at the same time, there is a huge difference between using something as a reference and just straight up copying what you see. And I'm not gonna lie to you, when I was first starting out, I would see artists online and I would see their work and I would try my absolute best to replicate exactly how their drawing looked. And it's awful, I know, but I was a kid and I didn't really understand why it was such a big deal. But now that I'm older, I completely understand the feeling of working so hard on a piece to then just find somebody copying it the very next day. And honestly, this didn't even really help my growth at all. After a while, I felt like I had to copy other people's work in order to make anything good. Which sucks because obviously everyone wants to be able to develop their own skills to be able to do a style that they love and make art that they love. So instead of copying another artwork, take the time to study and get an understanding of what you like from their work that you would want to implement into your own work. You can literally take a piece of paper and jot down little notes of every drawing that you see and see what is the common denominator of the things that you like about them. What techniques they may be using, how they handle certain lighting and shading, how they stylize certain things like the hair or the face. Break it down and apply all those little things into your own artwork. This way, you're not only developing the skills, but you're also getting an understanding of what you like in your work and what you would like to add and take out of your own work. Number 4, don't be afraid to try different mediums and styles. When I was first starting out, I had this art teacher tell me that nobody would like my art unless it was realism. And for a long time, I really believed that. I felt like I had to focus on realism in order to be seen as a true artist. And over time, it just made me hate art altogether. Looking back, I definitely wish that I wouldn't have listened to that so much and I would have just explored the way I wanted to. Trying different mediums like watercolor, markers, charcoal, even sculpting can really teach you so much about art. Each medium will force you to think differently. And you'll start to adapt and build new skills that you can actually implement in your own main medium. Even switching up styles from realism, anime, abstract, It helps you understand art in a much broader way. Honestly, the best part, you might actually discover something that you love even more than what you're originally starting out with. So please don't be as ridiculous as I was. Do not limit yourself just because of what others are saying. Just experiment and explore with what you like and what you're interested in, and just enjoy the process of it. Number 5, get out of your typical setting. I remember hearing somewhere that getting out of your usual environment, even if it's just for a couple hours, can drastically enhance your creativity. And at first I was kind of skeptical of this, but then I tried it and it honestly made a huge difference for me. Research actually shows that immersing yourself in natural environments like parks or forests can actually have a meditative effect on the brain, which can actually cause more creativity. Even a simple walk outside can have a huge benefit. And this is actually really good to know when you're having art block. Personally, whenever I'm starting to feel stuck, I make it a point to change my surroundings. It's actually part of the reason why I changed everything I took down on my posters, which was so sad, but
Carl
I had to change
never really
it.
thought much of his credit scores until he got Credit Karma and used his
That
scores
genuinely
to
just scared the fuck out of me. I'm still designing a bit, but I just needed something new. I had to take my posters down, which was so sad. I still have them though, just in case I want to put them back up. So. But I even try to make it a point to get out of the house. I am literally in this apartment pretty much all fucking day. So when I'm starting to have a lot of art block, I make it a point to get out of the house. Whether it's sitting in the park or going to a cafe or a boba shop, or even just changing from being in my room to the living room. These little changes in your surroundings can actually help refresh your mind, and it will actually make you a lot more creative. Number 6, talent isn't skill. I know this sounds crazy, but one thing I wish I had realized earlier is that being an artist isn't about being born talented. The truth is, the talent lies in creativity. However, that is just the starting point. It takes skills to turn those ideas into something great. This concept really hit me when I started watching the anime Blue Period. The show does an amazing job at exploring the idea of talent versus skill. The whole show is basically based off the fact that Yatsura felt guilty that he wasn't born talented and thought that he couldn't make art because he wasn't born talented. But he stuck with it because he loves art, and over a long period of time, he finally was able to develop the skills to make art. And that is the reality for every artist out there. Drawing, painting, mastering anatomy, those aren't talents, those are skills that you develop over time. I feel like people get really discouraged in the beginning because they feel almost guilty that they're not naturally good at it, and they start to believe that it's just something that they're not meant to do. But that can genuinely be further from the truth. Every big artist that you might admire does not get there overnight. They had to hone their skills over years of dedication. If I could go back, I would tell myself to stop worrying so much about not being talented enough and start focusing a lot more on building the skills I needed to make the art that I wanted to create. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to come easily. Art isn't something that everybody just magically knows how to do. It takes time. Number 7, quantity over quality. One of the biggest mistakes I ever made when I was first starting out was worrying so much about how good a drawing comes out. I literally wanted every single piece to be perfect. So I would spend days working on one drawing, trying to make it as flawless as possible, thinking that was the only way that I could improve. But I'm not gonna lie to you, that mentality really slowed me down in my growth. Because the truth is, the only way that you actually get good at something is repetition. You have to keep practicing, keep experimenting, keep making mistakes. That is where the growth happens. And there is one thing that I see all over TikTok that is like my biggest pet peeve. There's a lot of videos where they're talking on TikTok about making the perfectly aesthetic sketchbook. And it drives me insane because a sketchbook isn't supposed to be perfectly aesthetic. It is supposed to be a sketchbook. A sketchbook is made to be messy. It's where you try and plan where your next drawing is going to go. It's supposed to be where all the little mistakes in your mind go. And it's supposed to be filled with drawings that probably will never turn into full pieces. A sketchbook is where you're supposed to explore, where you're supposed to make mistakes, and where you're supposed to learn. I honestly wish that I could go back and tell myself to not be so obsessed with making the perfect drawings and just worry about drawing. Because as much as we all hate it, those bad sketches are always the ones that you learn the most from. So do not be afraid to make a mess. Your sketchbook isn't supposed to be perfect, and neither is your art journey. Number 8, post the bad work. I really wish that I had started posting my work online so much sooner, but honestly speaking, I was terrified to show bad work. which is okay. It's completely normal, especially with everybody online being complete assholes. It's completely normal to worry about that. But looking back, I really wish that I would have just posted it anyways. Even now, I still get that way sometimes. I've posted videos where I wasn't super proud of them and even uploaded drawings that I wasn't totally confident with. And I'm not gonna lie, even when writing this script out on my Notion, I questioned myself a lot in it. But I still wrote it and I'm still reading off of it anyways. Because it's amazing to be able to look back and see how much you've grown over time. And being able to track and see the progress is honestly so motivating. And if I'm being completely honest, I would much rather post something that I feel is kinda bad and learn from it than never post it at all and have the regret that I didn't start posting sooner. Because at the end of the day, perfection isn't the goal. Growth is. And growth only happens when you're willing to put yourself out there, even if it is so uncomfortable. So if you are scared of posting your stuff online, I completely get it. But believe me when I tell you, your future self will thank you. Number 9, take breaks. Art block is completely normal, yet for some reason people online make it sound like you're not a real artist for having art block. And I used to feel so pressured to try and produce something new every single day. And I only did that because I genuinely thought that was the only way for me to improve. But I cannot explain to you how fast I burnt out from doing that. But looking back on it, it is honestly so much better to take it slow than to produce something every single day. Creativity isn't something that you can force, and pushing yourself too hard will only lead you to feel drained of your passion. Whenever I do give myself time to rest, I feel like I always come back with bigger and better ideas. So if you're feeling stuck or completely uninspired, it is totally alright to put the pencil down and go do something else. Because taking breaks doesn't mean that you're giving up. It just means that you're giving yourself space to grow. Number 10. Everyone's art journey is different. I used to feel so insecure when I saw other kids my age drawing these beautiful pieces while I was over here with 2 uneven eyeballs on every page I drew. But at the end of the day, everybody's art journey is completely different. Some people just pick up skills a lot faster than others, and there's nothing wrong with that. Once you stop comparing your own work to others and you actually start focusing on your own progress, that's when you'll start to see a lot of your growth. Everyone's growth happens at its own pace, and yeah, it might be a bit annoying, but it's just the truth. Trying to measure my success to somebody else's timeline only held me back longer. If I could go back, I would go and remind myself that art isn't a race. It's a journey, and as long as you're moving forward, you are exactly where you need to be. If I could go back and give my younger self this list, I know that I would have saved myself so much stress and so much self-doubt. But you know what? I'm also really grateful for all the mistakes I've made throughout this journey. Every setback, every mistake, every bad piece has actually taught me something really valuable. Growth doesn't come from doing everything perfectly. It actually comes from showing up and learning and allowing yourself to evolve over time. So if you are just starting out, or you've even been on this journey for a little bit, I really hope these tips gave you some perspective and maybe even a little bit of comfort. You don't have to have it all figured out right away. I don't even have it figured out right now. Just trust this process, please be kind to yourself, and just remember that every single artist has started exactly where you are right now. So yeah, that is pretty much the end of this video, but before I go, I want to leave you with this. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, give it a thumbs down. That's the point of those buttons down there, right? And if this video resonated with you, I would love to hear what advice you to give your younger self in the comments down below. And with all that, I actually don't think I have anything left to say. So, once again, my name is Leilani, and I'm hitting the record button now. Nice. This girl right here is so loud when she sleeps. It is honestly so hard to remember what the hell I was saying. This one's okay. She's not as bad. She does a lot of that though, which is alright. Lacy dogs, very lacy dogs.